I thought I could do it, but I need to be able to see. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our first Facebook Live chat. Let me see. I'm positioned weird here. Okay. We're figuring things out. So, let's see. All right. So when we did our test earlier, there's a bit of a delay between our voices and your comments. If anyone is here, if not, hello from the past to future viewers. What we're going to do is, this is going to be an Ask Me Anything structure. So just keep pouring your questions in as we chatter. While we wait for questions, we will start by discussing or making various announcements and things. So yeah, and we'll just keep talking until someone shows up. So, first of all, for our viewers, let me get my list, because I need my list. First of all, if you are not on our mailing list, you should totally join that, because basically every important thing we ever say is going to be transmitted through that mailing list, so if you don't want to miss any big stuff, that's where you want to be. I will share a comment with the link to that in our comments, so give me a second there.
Oh, look, you've got all those saved.
I do. I'm so
you
efficient.
Prepared for this.
I did prepare. All right. So mailing list link is up. We do monthly Facebook contests. We do all sorts of free books and things. In fact, if you sign up, you can get a free copy or a free ebook copy of The Dragons of Jupiter just for signing up. We also we team up with a bunch of other authors to do free ebook giveaways. So you can, there's like 70 or so free ebooks in all of our newsletters. So if you're looking for stuff to read while you're in self-quarantine, we can hook you up. Speaking of other free stuff, we know a lot of people are looking for stuff to read while in self-quarantine. So one thing that we've done is made all of our books free to people who join our street team. And all you have to do to join our street team is follow the link that I'm about to post from my efficient little list. And boop, 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 boop. And so our street team is really chill. You basically just look at stuff I post online and occasionally read books when I send them to you. But if you join our street team, you get little updates from me whenever we're promoting a new book or doing something like that. I have free downloads for you where you can download it. And I do ask that you review it in 3 months if you download a free copy. But yeah, that's pretty much all the work that's involved in being on our street team. So if you like free books and you like to write reviews and you like cool swag and other specialty contests and things like that, you should totally join. Also, now I'm going to plug Jacob's other publisher. We self-publish, in case you guys didn't know that already, but whatever. Anyway, Jacob also publishes with Baen Books, and another free ebook opportunity is the Baen Free Library, which has a ton of free ebooks by a bunch of really awesome sci-fi authors. A lot of them are series starters. A lot of them are classics. So there's a ton to read there. And I'm going to post that link as well.
Second one.
Second one. There we go. And all right. So there is, hopefully, where is it? Okay, yeah, there it is. All right, it posted. So that is the Baen Free Library. Now, no questions have popped up yet. If anyone is there, please comment, say hello. We're just going to keep talking. So until questions pop up, I am going to pass this on to you. And you have a new book coming up.
I do.
So chatter about that.
So it's the sequel to the Gordian Protocol.
So you can come up closer.
I'm going to come up closer. So it's the sequel to the Gordian Protocol. Am I supposed to talk to this? Am I supposed to talk to you?
Talk to the internet.
Talk to the internet.
Hi, internet. I'm waiting,
the internet
but you can't see because I don't really know what I'm doing right now.
Talking to the internet is intimidating.
Pretend you're talking to me then. Or you can talk to real me, or you can pretend I'm on the other side of the internet, or pretend we're in social quarantine, but I'm socially quarantined somewhere else.
What?
Just talk about your book, Jacob.
All right. So sequel to the Gordian Protocol, which published in May of last year from Baen Books.
Speaking of which, I'm going to interrupt. The mass market paperback of that is scheduled to be out on April 28th. So if you want a little pocket-sized time travel apocalypse to read about, you should totally pick it up. Otherwise, it's already available, of course, in ebook and hardback and audiobook form. So, okay.
So the sequel is called the Valkyrie Protocol, and it comes out in October.
October 6th.
Yeah, I haven't seen that date from Baen Books directly. I have seen that date on Amazon, so that's the best information that we have right now.
We're gonna assume that's the right one.
I'm just going to assume for the time being. But the Valkyrie Protocol continues the story of Rybert Kaminsky, who is now Agent Rybert Kaminsky in the Gordian Division, and they have a new case. Basically, it starts with their. Should I talk about the series itself, or
may as well? This is our first Facebook Live, so go back to the beginning.
Well, so the Gordian Protocol, for those who aren't familiar with it,
move so I can see the front. There's sort of you can see it in the back, sort of above where Nova's hanging out. Okay, there's the cover. Okay, done.
All right. So, I once swore to myself that I would never write a time travel novel. And then David Weber suggested that we write a time travel novel together, to which I told him, I think this is a great idea. So we wrote a time travel novel together. And then we wrote a sequel. And we're starting the planning for a third one and a fourth one, actually.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully more than that. We'll see.
So, basic premise, I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't read the Gordian Protocol, but a knot has formed in the past, and this knot is going to cause 16 different universes to explode spectacularly.
Mm-hmm.
And Rybert Kaminsky, Benjamin Schroeder, the main characters. Rybert is a historian from the 30th century, and Benjamin is a historian from our modern day. And they have to team up to change the past in order to save the future. Which, I guess, since I'm talking about Rybert in the in the sequel, spoilers, they do succeed. They do succeed. Not without some casualties along the way, but they do succeed.
No casualties in a David Weber book / Jacob Hollow book. No way.
Yeah, but sometimes we're not friendly to our characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, we love our characters, but we also love to be mean to them.
If you were nice to them, the book would be boring.
Well, so the what?
I'm looking at the cat because she's adorable.
Oh yeah, there she is. So the Valkyrie Protocol. I
wanted to see what she would do. Continue talking. I'm going to feed the cat.
Well, this is very distracting.
Okay.
All right. So the Valkyrie Protocol. They've basically found the remnants of two imploded universes, not exploded this time. So something else has destroyed these other two universes. They don't know what. At the same time, some of Rybert's old colleagues have put together this really ambitious plan to go back in time to cure, or actually prevent, the plague of Justinian in the 6th century from happening.
It's your book.
Well... I focused on mostly on the 30th century parts of the book.
history stuff was David's stuff. You're the engineer, so that's your area of expertise.
Anyway, they want to prevent it, which will cause the timeline to branch, and those two universes that imploded. All Rybert and his team really know is that bad things happened because of reckless time travel over there. So probably going back in time and causing the timeline to branch once more is a bad idea. And at the same time, Siskov, which is where Rybert and the other main characters live, their universe has a multiverse neighbor called the Admin, who people who've read the first book will be familiar with. And the Admin, they're putting on a friendly face, but they're also building a massive fleet of heavily armed time machines, and this is making a lot of people nervous. So that's where the book starts. And then it sort of escalates from there. It just escalates a little bit.
That's basically the outline of all of your books. Things escalate.
Well, I think that's generally a good format to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, generally. Well, if anybody's here yet, feel free to say hey, ask some questions until we get some questions. I think we're going to continue. And of course, if you come to this from the future, you can add questions in the comments, and then we can answer them in a future Facebook Live as well. This is actually kind of fun, even if no one's listening, so I want to do it again. But anyway, so
is anyone listening?
I don't know. Well, maybe we just have a really substantial delay. Don't mess with my video. That chat that's a different chat. That's a different.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm not touching anything.
So we've spoken about Valkyrie, and we said the release date, right? The release date is tentatively October 6th. So mark your calendars, prepare your celebration release parties, and things of that nature. So our next big announcement is I have a new book coming out. It is not The Wizard Circus. I'll allow you to put your groans right here. Okay, I waited so you could do it. But the Wizard's Circus has temporarily been shelved for a few reasons. This new series is the result of an experiment that I wanted to run where, it's been, 3 years since I published it's been more than 3 years. It's been 4 years since
I know you've been working on the Wizard Circus for about 3 years.
It's been a long time. And I would really like to release books faster than one every 3 years. And one of the reasons why it's taken so long is because the world of the Wizard's Way is a really complex world. There's lots of different cultures to deal with, a complex magic system in this book, or in the Wizard Circus, a complex political situation, and balancing all of those has been a real challenge. What I've got written is awesome, but it's just getting it all wrangled together has become kind of a challenge, because one of my perennial problems when I write is that I have more ideas than I can fit into a book. And for example, the Wizard's Way, before we published it, was actually, I want to say 2 times its length, at least. There was so much that we cut from the Wizard's Way. Well, and there's going to be...
I know when I was starting to do my hardcore edits from your first draft of the Wizard's Way, I think I ended up cutting... in my first pass, 30 or 40,000
Yeah,
words.
So there's basically a novella in there. I could salvage that and make a novella. Maybe we'll have to see. There's so much has changed.
That has the glass hamster ball in it.
Oh, I like the glass hamster ball.
Yeah, I'm glad I cut that.
Sometimes my imagination gets crazy, and Jacob has to wrangle it in. And the magic glass hamster ball was one of those ideas.
But the advantage of this new series is that you don't have to wrangle in more adventurous creative impulses.
So anyway, my main difficulty is that I just have too many ideas, not enough book. Or rather, too many ideas, and trying to write a complicated plot in addition to complicated world and complicated characters really is not my strength. And so, to speak of this new series, the experiment that I wanted to do was basically to write a story that had a really simple plot that allowed me to just really go crazy with my world and characters. And I started this particular book in, September of last year? Mm-hmm. And the first version, or the semi-final version of this book is now out to beta readers. And it is, how to begin describing this book? The simplest most, I guess, irreverent way of describing it is basically it's Monster Hunter fan fiction. Not really, because, copyright and things of that nature. And plus, I don't actually write fan fiction. If I'm going to write a world, I want to put my own spin on it and have my own.
It is definitely Monster Hunter inspired, but it's certainly not a ripoff. I mean, you do your own thing in many different ways.
Yeah,
I mean, it certainly is, at its core, group of characters on an adventure, hunting monsters. Yeah. So you have that backbone there, but you go to some crazy places.
Yeah. And it's actually an idea that has been stewing in my mind really since I started seriously writing. I went back and just out of curiosity looked at some of my old writing around the time I started this, and a lot of my early writing was inspired by whatever I was consuming at the time, which at that time was Pokemon and Digimon and Monster Rancher and every other monster franchise that was popular around that time. Somehow I missed Yu-Gi-Oh! I have no idea. Like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Premiered right around the time that I was entering high school and thought that I was too grown up for anime. so that's a franchise that I never really fell into.
What is this concept of being too grown up for anime?
That was a dark time. That was the period where I threw out all my old Gundam models too. And I think back on that.
Was that when you were dressing all in black too?
I didn't dress all in black. Well, there was that one picture where I looked really, really pretentious.
Well, that's the only picture that I've seen of you from that period in your life. So I just assume that's what you wore all the time.
I mostly wore really stupid looking Hawaiian shirts, actually. Like,
except for the one picture where you're all in black.
That was, my mom wanted to take the family and go get professionally done pictures made. And I was like, okay, I need to dress in a way and bring the proper props that exude me for this picture, since it's a special picture. And so I dressed in all sophisticated black because I was a sophisticated 14-year-old, and brought a copy of The Writer's Journey by Christopher Vogler, which is really a legit writing book. Like, for real, if you ever want to know anything about mythic structure, totally pick that book up. But I'm sitting there and with this really, like, condescending look on my face, holding The Writer's Journey, and it's just, I kind of cringe to think of it, but also kind of laugh to think of it.
I certainly laughed.
We're going off on a tangent. Anyway, I was looking at all these things that I wrote, and that this early writing was crap. But it also
my early writing was crap too.
Yeah, but it also exuded this absolute sense of fun. Like, a lot of teenage writing, a lot of authors look back on their teenage writing and sort of cringe at it, but there's a certain craziness to it that makes it really fun to look back on in certain ways. Like mechanically,
maybe for you.
Well, mechanically and structurally, it's a disaster. Like, I look back on some of my stuff, and it's like, I literally had a character whose name was Falcon Infinity, which you could absolutely tell that was anime inspired. But it's like, I look back and cringe to think that I had a character with that name. But
my early writing was just one big dumpster fire. I'm glad I've moved on from that stage.
I keep going off on tangents. See, my mouth is like my writing. Tangents everywhere. We have to wrangle it. But anyway, I realized that I never really outgrew these franchises. I still love Pokemon and Digimon. I play Monster Hunter, which is basically the grown-up version of them. You kill things instead of making friends with them, and it's awesome. But
they're also trying to set you on fire.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But so I basically took all these ideas and all these things that inspired me and sort of dumped them into the blender of my imagination and created this world that is very much its own world, but is an homage to all of those monster franchises that initially inspired me to write. And so there are elements of it where you'll see certain lines of dialogue and it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a nod to Monster Hunter. But the actual, right now I'm just calling it the Monster Story. I do not have a release date yet, because I'm actually intending to do rapid release with this series because I can write them so quickly. that I plan to churn out the first 2 or 3, and Jacob is actually in line to write one as well. He's got one outlined.
In my copious amounts of free time.
It'd take like 2 weeks for you.
No. I think it'll probably take me 2 to 3 months.
The apocalypse is happening, Jacob. Anything is possible.
Speaking of the coronavirus, while, in a lot of cases, a lot of people are going to be less busy, obviously, because they're,
oh yeah, you're going to be more busy.
I am going to be more busy.
It's not because he's been called on by the government to save the world. It's not nearly that excited. Though you have the intellect to do it.
No, that's just silly talk. No, it's just sort of the nature of my other non-writing job. When everything else stops, that we get really busy doing things that we normally can't do when the line is running.
Yeah, so it's not really
factory line is running.
So anyway, so you have to work even during the apocalypse, man. That is sad.
It's not the apocalypse.
It's fun to refer to it that way. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about your new book.
Where was I on it, though?
I'm just vaguely talking about it without talking about the title or the characters or the plot.
Okay. We'll get there. So this series is basically it's just a love letter to all the monster franchises I love, but also like pretty much all the nerd stuff I'm consuming right now. The first book follows these 2 characters who are not based on mine and Jacob's Monster Hunter characters at all. And in this setting, there's a certain mystery about the setting that the characters themselves don't fully understand. Basically, in the sky, there are a whole ton of portals, and sometimes junk just falls out of the portals, and sometimes it's trash. Sometimes it's sentient beings, other people that have to adapt to living in this world. Other times, it's big honking monsters that can do really awesome things, or in the case of the monster that falls from the sky, can really mess up their entire world and ecosystem. And so they have to basically hunt this thing down. And it's a very simple plot, but the characters themselves, I find it hard to describe my characters because they just kind of happen. Like, which I mean, I guess can be said of most of my writing, but it's...
I suppose you could start by like telling people what they're named and maybe a little bit about them.
So my quote unquote character is Jazz. She is, her full name is Jaspertina Red. She is a descendant of this really, really rich line of people on, well, I guess I should actually back up and talk about these 2 things that are the setting itself. The setting itself, I described things falling from the sky, right? Okay.
Yes, you did.
So,
the dazzling skies.
Yes, the dazzling skies. And so there are 2 continents underneath the dazzling skies. One is called the Monstrous Continent. It's the really scary one. The other one is called the Wondrous Continent, which is more, it's settled and more civilized. It's basically like this, like our present, slightly near future with magic, essentially. And
which is not where the book takes place.
It is not where the book takes place, but Jazz is from a family on that continent that they basically have this really, really influential sporting monster battling franchise, and Jazz is kind of crap at that, and so she decides that she's going to go over to the Monstrous Continent, which is comparatively a lot less civilized, and like they may have little apartments, but they're not fancy pants apartments.
I think if Jazz would actually apply herself, she might be less crap.
Yeah, Jazz, I wouldn't call Jazz a slacker. She is very energetic, but has no direction for that energy.
She shoots from the hip.
But she basically she's this kind of character who brings chaos with her, but can kind of manage to wrangle the chaos in unexpected ways. And so she just kind of runs in and hopes that magic happens. She's a very chaotic character, but a very fun character too.
And her hunting style is absolutely nothing like your writing style.
But she's balanced out by Jacob's character Pix, who is.
In fairness, you wrote both characters. You wrote the whole book.
I wrote both characters.
So when you say my character, it's not really my character.
Yeah, well, I at some point I should post pictures of our two characters, because I literally picture our Monster Hunter characters in this book. I mean, their armor is different, of course, but and the mechanics of the world are quite different too. I'm not even going to get started on gems, because that's a whole complicated thing. But
I would say that the the fun that we've had playing Monster Hunter together has kind of formed, planted little seeds in your brain, and little idea seeds flourish.
Oh yes,
in the head of yours.
Yeah, but Pix is, I actually forget her real name. I've changed it so many times.
Well, in the last version that I read, her actual name is Taylor Weaver.
Okay, we're gonna go with that. But she compared to
she's I think Jazz called her Pix because of her hairstyle, and that's just it just stuck. Was that the backstory of her?
Yeah,
of her name?
It's something like that. Everyone in this series goes by nicknames, which is kind of a reference to Jazz called her Pix because she had difficulty pronouncing her real name. That's what it was, and that in itself is a nod to Monster Hunter 2, because all the creature names are crazy and no one pronounces them the same way.
Wait a second. Is Kilvester? Is that not his real name?
Actually, no, that is his real name.
Okay,
so
all right.
Everyone goes by nicknames.
There's a character named Kilvester.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's like a half orc, half fairy barbarian, and I love him. He's one of those where I came up with his name and then he happened. Like magic. He sprung from my head.
You did that with a few of the characters.
Most of the characters happen. But anyway, Pix is the one who kind of, she is the strategist. She is very calm and level-headed and balances out Jazz's sort of chaos. And she's one of the few there who is actually doing the ecological work. But there's, it's going to be a fun series. It's very, what have you said about it? Because you like to gush over it. So I'll let you gush over it. Well,
before we continue, I think we do have some people in the chat, so maybe remind them.
I think this is just my regular Facebook chat. These aren't people who are watching.
Oh,
so
okay.
So it's a different chat.
Oh, it's a different
hello
chat.
If you're, Facebook is
okay.
Weird. Yeah, hello if you are watching.
Well, how can we tell how many people are watching?
If they comment over here.
Okay.
We just have to guess, I guess. I really don't know what I'm doing with as this is the first time, dude. We will feel our way through it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Right.
But I don't have a release date yet. It's going to depend upon when I finish the next two books. I will be commissioning cover art for the first book soon, so that's a step. But I'm really hoping to get it out this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly doable for you to write two more books in the series, and then kind of have a rapid release plan starting near the end of the year. I think that's given how the first book came together, and I certainly expect that just given your refinement of this writing style, that you're going to be able to accelerate your pace.
Yep.
But oh man, it's a really fun read. It's on the short side. It's definitely shorter.
Yeah, it's more novella length.
I mean, it's longer than a novella, just barely. But it's short, but it is oh so sweet. And every page is packed full of imagination.
Yay!
It's fun. It's action packed. It's laugh out loud hilarious at times. The characters are very vivid. The world is really imaginative and interesting. And I mean, I want to talk about some of the scenes, but I'm gonna
save it for closer to release time.
Hold
save
back.
it till we at least have pictures of the characters.
Yeah.
But the way it's set up is we're gonna release the first 3 books first. The series, I have concepts for at least 10 books in the series, with a few offshoot series planned actually. There's one of them is going to be like an isekai parody. There's going to be another that, well, there's actually a lot of anime parodies in there. It's very much kind of a lit RPG anime nerd styled kind of series. But I do have 10 books planned currently. That will change, and I've purposefully structured it so that my imagination can basically go wild and not be tied to a specific overarching plot. So my characters can go on adventures endlessly in this series. I will be returning to the Wizard Circus at some point, because it is a different. The Wizard Circus is a different kind of challenge, and I do really enjoy that world.
Well, one of the things about the Wizard's Way and the Wizard Circus that you have found difficult to deal with is that you do have to restrain certain tendencies that you have as a writer.
Right. One of the
and the this new series is very much unrestrained, and the imagination just pours forth. And I before you continue, I just want to fit in one thing that pretty much as soon as I finished the like a first editing pass, and I had very limited notes on that one, is that I immediately asked you, is it okay if I write a book in this series? And then few
you had
days
an outline
later I had
2
an
days
outline,
later,
and then I'm like, okay, I have to finish some other things, but
yeah,
maybe in the coming months I'm gonna.
It's the kind of story that's simple enough that you can crank it out really quickly. So,
well, I also
you've got other books to write.
Well,
Story of our lives, always other books to write.
But I do, now that David Weber and I are finished with the content edit of the Valkyrie Protocol. That's been turned in. There's a cover.
Yeah.
There's a release date.
If you go look on Amazon, the cover is there. It's also around and about our Facebook page too. So.
And we've actually.
It's beautiful. I love it.
David and I have turned in. I guess you could call it a project proposal. A kind of for that kind of details out the next 2 books, and also touches on 2 books after that for the Gordian Division series. So we're kind of waiting for feedback on those before we jump into the next project. And of course, David is David, and David is very busy. But yeah, it's a really, the world that you've created is a really fun one, and I'm kind of looking forward to dipping my toe in it.
All right. Well, we've been going for 30 minutes. I thought we were going to do like 10, but anyway, I see that we do have a few people watching. I've seen from likes. So thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will do this again at some point. If you would like to know when, join our mailing list and the link in the comments, and I will send out a notification when we do it. But thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
I don't know which hand to do it with. This one, that's the visible one. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.